just saying I wouldn't be surprised if they make a women's Intercontinental Championship next. I'm just saying I won't be shocked if they end up making a women's Intercontinental Championship.
Didn't I tell you so? Didn't I tell you so? God, I hate being right. I absolutely hate being right. Tonight on Monday Night Raw, what belt did they happen to introduce? Why, a Women's Intercontinental Championship, of course. I said this 2 weeks ago. Everyone was trying to tell me that the Women's US title is going to be on both Raw and SmackDown. It's not going to be a brand exclusive. They're going to make it for both brands. You know, I keep hearing how Triple H is anti-brand split. I keep hearing how everyone keeps saying, well, Triple H is anti-brand split. If he's anti-brand split, why hasn't he A, ended the brand split yet? 2, making separate belts for 2 particular shows? If he's so anti-brand split, he wouldn't have 2 sets of tag belts, he wouldn't have 2 sets of women's tag belts, 2 sets of women's championships, he wouldn't have 2 sets of women's mid-card belts, and he wouldn't have 2 sets of world championships. If he is so anti-brand split, he would have done this a long time ago. But everyone keeps telling me Triple H is going to end the brand split. Having 1 mid-card belt would solidify that you're ending the brand split. But no, he had to create another one. Just like what I said, he can't help himself. He's going to create one for Raw. It was just so darn predictable. It was so darn predictable. It was so clear as day that's what was going to happen. I hate being right. I hate being right. I really do hate being right. And it's stupid. Triple H is the new Tony Khan when it comes to making championships. I want everyone to apologize to Tony Khan right now when it comes to creating too many championships. Everyone needs to owe Tony Khan an apology. Sorry, Tony Khan, we didn't mean to talk bad about you creating too many championships. Triple H has now topped you. 2 speed belts. 2 speed belts. And now 2 mid-card belts for the women's division. Listen. AEW, when they created the TBS Championship, they had enough women on their roster to utilize it. They had enough women. They had more than enough women to utilize a mid-card belt. NXT have enough women to utilize a mid-card belt. But the main roster does not have enough women for a mid-card belt. Yes, injuries play a factor. Yes, I know injuries play a factor. There's no Alexa Bliss, there's no Carmella, there's no Becky, there's no Charlotte, there's no Shotzi. That's about 5 people out. Plus Asuka, that's 6. That's about 6 people out injured. But do you really think those 6 people would be more than enough to fill in a mid-card division? Do you really think that Charlotte, Becky, and Asuka are going to be in the mid-card division? I don't think so. I don't think so. I genuinely don't think so. releasing Indy Hartwell and Tegan Knox is really about to bite Triple H on the ass. Because man oh man, would they benefit these titles. And I already know what's gonna happen. It'll be another triple threat tournament. We'll be getting another triple threat tournament. Because Triple H can't help himself with these tournaments. He has to create. He's now making me hate tournaments. Generally, I mean it. Triple H is making me hate tournaments. I hate this US triple threat tournament that they're doing. Shouldn't even need to be a triple threat. They did a triple threat tournament to basically crown #1 contenders for the fight for the Judgment Day. They did a tournament to crown the inaugural World Heavyweight Champion, which I think it was Fatal 4-Way, which I think that was like a Fatal 4-Way matches. That was like a bunch of Fatal 4-Way matches. They just keep on abusing tournaments. But Patrick, this is what we wanted. We want tournaments. But why triple threats? Why Fatal 4-Ways? Why do they always have to be triple threats? Why can't you just do a standard normal tournament like the King of the Ring style? Pick 8 people. Pick 8 women who deserve that opportunity. It's so forced at this point. It's forced. It is so forced at this point. I just do not care. I never liked the idea of mid-card belts in the first place. But because the community kept whining and crying until they got one, now they've got 2. Well, actually, now they have 3. Because NXT has one. But at least with NXT, they had enough women to do it. They did qualifying matches. They said the tournament, they didn't create a tournament. They did standard singles matches, qualifying matches. The winners of these qualifying matches will go on to the PLE, which I think was Battleground, to compete for the championship. Triple H is just tournament, 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 tournament. Tournament for this belt, tournament for that, tournament for this, tournament for that. We don't need tournaments. We don't need this many tournaments for everything. Does everything need to... This is Triple H's only way to decide anything. Oh, the only way I can decide anything is tournaments. It's not like I should do the same thing that Shawn Michaels did, do a ladder match and just have a bunch of women fight for a chance to compete for the title at a PLE. Nah, that's too simple. I'd rather do tournaments. It's pathetic. It's honestly pathetic, and I just don't care. And I knew this was going to happen. There's no way you can say the US women's title being created was not leading into a women's IC championship being made. They just don't have the women's division for these mid-card belts. The only solution is get rid of the tag team titles. That's the only solution. The only solution is that they need to delete the tag team titles from existence. So in that way, all the tag teams can break up and they can work singles. But are they going to do that? Of course not. They're not going to end the women's tag team championships. The only thing that will save them is when Alexa, Carmella, Becky, and Charlotte eventually come back. Can't say I care too much about Shotzi, but I guess her too. And also calling up a bunch of people from NXT like Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez and whoever else. This is why Julia and Stephanie Bakula needed to be on the main roster. But they need to learn the WWE style. Did you say that about Jade Cargill? Where was the Jade Cargill needed to learn the WWE style nonsense? But she's on the main roster. Julia and Stephanie don't need to learn anything. If Jade Cargill can skip NXT, so can they. It's honestly, I'm honestly done. Triple H has made me less interested in these belts, because this is so forced. This is genuinely forced, and I don't like it. And I don't care who I upset. I don't care who I upset. I do not like this. This is so darn forced. And I guarantee you, when these belts do become active and we do have our first champions, I will give it maybe until WrestleMania, or a bit, maybe until WrestleMania. And everyone will start complaining about how useless these belts are. I'll give it until WrestleMania. Because then fans will start complaining how these new mid-card women's belts are not making it to PLEs. They'll complain about them not being used for WrestleMania. They'll complain about the lack of a women's division for these belts. I will give it until WrestleMania. And people will start shitting on these belts. Because we all know the community has to shit on everything. These belts were a mistake. And they never should have been created. But Triple H is the man of the people. I must do what the people say. That's what Triple H is. He's Mr. I will do exactly what the community asks.